Hello again. Well, it seems that many of you have watched the video, so Puddock has agreed to let me do the next chapter. A Laddie Cawed Christmas. We'll see how it goes. So the next chapter is called The Sleigh and Other Bad News. Listen, son, there's something I hate to tell you, said his father, as they ate fusty rye bread for breakfast. This was Nicholas's second favourite breakfast, recht after unfusty rye bread. What is it, Da? What did Anders want to spear you? Joel took a deep breath, as if the next sentence was something he had to loup into and swim through. I've been offered a job, he said. It's a lot of siller. It could be the answer to Arthur, but... Nicholas waited, holding his breath, and then it came. But I'll hae to go awa. What? Dinna worry. I'll no be a long time. 2 months just. 2 months? Joel had a wee think. 3 at the maist. That sounded like forever. What kind of job takes 3 months? It's an expedition. A group of men are heading to the far north. They want to find Elfhelm. Nicholas could hardly believe his lugs. His mind was burling with excitement. He had aye believed in elves, but never really imagined that people could actually gang and see them. Elves. Living, breathing elves. The Elfclachen. His father nodded. The king has said there's a reward for anybody that finds proof of the Elfclachen. 12,000 rubles. Atween 7 men, that's our 3,000 each. I didn't think it is, said Nicholas. We'd never ever hae to worry about siller again. Oh, Da, can I no come? I can spot a mushroom fae a mile awa, even in the snaw. I'll be awfully useful. His father's lang, leathery face looked doughy. The skin under his een had come out in another ring. His eyebrows were slithering apart like ubits that had fallen out with each other. Even his clarty auld reed bonnet seemed mair hingy and mair doughy than usual. Oh, it's ower dangerous, Joel said, his breath reeking of sour cloudberries. And I'm no just talking about bears. There'll be mony nichts sleeping out in the cold. Finland is a muckle country. 100 mile north of here, there is a clachin called Sipajärvi. Ayont that, nothing but frozen moors and lochs and snaw-covered fields. Even the forests are frozen, and by the time you rax Lapland, scran. Even mushrooms will be hard to find. And then the journey gets even more difficult, which is why nobody has ever made it to the far north. Tears filled Nicholas's een, but he was determined no to greet. He glowered at his father's hand and the missing half finger. So how do you ken you'll mark it? There's 6 other men, good strong men. We hae as good a chance as onybody. He gied his ken speckle wrinkly-eyed smile. It will be worth it, I promise you. We'll make a lot of siller on this expedition, which means we will never hae to hae watery mushroom soup and fusty bread again. Nicholas kent his father was sad and didn't want to make him feel any worse. He kent he had to be brave. I'll miss you, Da, but I understand that you hae to go. You're a bairn of the forest, Joel said, his voice trembling. You've a stout heart, but mind, stay awa fae danger. You hae to watch your curiosity. You hae our muckle courage. I'll be back by September, when the weather turns cold, and we'll eat like the king himsel'. He held up a piece of dry rye bread with a scunnered face. Sausages, and fresh buttered bread, and mountains of blaeberry pie. And cheese, wondered Mika, but nobody heard. Blaeberry pie. Nicholas near passed out at the thought. He was that starving that the idea of sweet, purpy berries bursting to brack out of mouth-watering pastry seemed like heaven itself. He'd once tasted a blaeberry, and it had been marvellous. But nobody kent that the way to mak something even more marvellous was to put it in a pie. But then he became dowie again, and a thought occurred to him. Nae way Joe, that was feared whilst to let Nicholas out of his sight, would let him be on his ain. Was gonna look after me. Dinna worry, said Joe. I'll write to my sister. She'll keep you safe. Sister? Och no, this was even worse. It was bad enough spending the whole of Christmas afternoon with Auntie Carlotta, never mind spending 3 whole months with her. It's all right. I can be on my own. I'm a bairn of the forest, Ken. I can... No, his father interrupted him. Nah, it's a dangerous world, and you're still a wean. You can find what happened yesterday. Auntie Carlotta is a lonely woman. She's a lot older than me. She's really an old lady now. She's 42. Hardly anybody lives to be 42. It'll be good for her to hae somebody to look after. He looked at his son for a long while before breaking the final bit of bad news. Oh, and I'll need to tak your sleigh. Understocked it would be useful. To had our supplies, and anyway, it is summer. The snaw's ower thin on the ground around here. Nicholas nodded. He couldn't think of an answer. You lie hae your tumshy doll. Joel pointed to the dowie-looking neep with a face curved out of it that was sitting beside Nicholas's bed. Aye, said Nicholas. He supposed that for a tumshy doll it was a Gideon. Maybe it was the best doll made for a fusty, honking tumshy in the whole of Finland. That's right, I still hae that. And say, 10 days after, on a cold but sunny morning, Nicholas watched his father gang awa. Joel was wearing his reed bonnet, carrying his axe on his back and pulling the wooden sleigh ahint him. He hid it off under a pink lift, through the tall pine trees to meet the other men in Kristinankapunki. And then, after that, the really awful things started to happen. The arrival of Auntie Carlotta. Even at a time when most aunties were sour-faced scunners, Auntie Carlotta was particularly awful. She was a tall, skinny, malinky woman that wore grey clays, had white hair and a long, crabbit face, and a tawty wee mouth like a full stop. Artin about her, even her voice seemed as cold as frost. No, she said, crabbitly. It is important we hae some rules. The first rule is that you must get out of your bed when the sun comes up. Nicholas gaped. This was horrible. Finland was in summer. But the sun comes up in the middle of the night. The second rule is that you dinna answer me back. Ever. Especially about the first rule. Auntie Carlotta looked at Mika, that had just sklimmed up the table leg and was now scuttling out of the table looking for crumbs. She seemed scunnered. And the third rule, she said, is nae rats. He's no a rat. But it was hour late. He had huckled Mika, the moose, by his tail and carried the struggling crater to the door, which she opened afore flinging him outside. Auntie Carlotta. Huh? You can't do that, shouted Mika at the top of his voice. But as the top of Mika's voice was nowhere near the bottom of most folks' voices, nobody heard him. She stuck at the door, snout the air, and her een landed on the tumshy doll aside Nicholas's bed. She picked it up, hugging it awa for her neb. And nae honking fusty vegetables either. It's a doll. Look, it's got a coupon. Well, on second thoughts, I'll hang on to it. Mich tak my mind off the reek of you. Auntie Carlotta regarded Nicholas with even more scunner than she had shown the fusty neep. I'd forgotten who muckle I hate bairns, especially laddies. They mak me boke. It's becoming as clear as the air. My glaikit 9-fingered brother has been ower soft with you. She looked around the wee one-roomed bothy. Do you ken why I've come? She speered. Did he tell you? To look after me. Her laugh flichted out of her fast and frightening like balky birds fleeing out of a cave. It was the first and last time he would ever hear her laugh. To look after you? Oh, that's a gidding. Awfully funny. What a world you must bide in to think folk just do good things for no reason. Do you really think I came here because I cared about you? No. I didn't come here for a shilpit, manky idiot of a bairn. I came here for the siller. The siller? Aye, your father has promised me 500 rubles on his return. I could buy myself 5 cottages with that. What would you need 5 cottages for? To make more siller, and then more siller. Is siller all that matters? Spoken like a recht manky wee mink. No! Where do you sleep? There, said Nicholas, pointing first at his bed and then to the other end of the room. And that's where Da sleeps. Auntie Carlotta shook her head. No. I didn't understand, said Nicholas. I can't hear you in here seeing me in my nicky tams. And what's more, I hae an awfully bad back. I need both mattresses. You didn't want it getting any worse, do you? No, I wouldn't want that, said Nicholas. Good. See, you will sleep outside. Outside? Aye, outside. Fresh air is good for the soul. I never understand why bairns want to be in the house all the time these days. I ken it's very near the 19th century, but give me peace gone. Out! It's getting dark. He's saying to sleep outside. See that night? Nicholas lay on the grass outside his house. He had taken his mother's old winter coat to keep on her, No, he'd ta'en his mother's old winter coat to sleep on her, and lay on the softest bit of grass he could find, atween twa tree scrags his father had chopped years syne. But there were always peebles somewhere under his back. The wind blew. He watched Auntie Carlotta in the distance hunker over the hole in the ground, howking up her petticoat to gang to the toilet, and he hoped she'd fa' in. Then he hated himself for thinking that. She gazed back into the warm bothy, and he chittered under her lift full of skinkling stars as he cooried into his fusty tumshy for comfort. He started to think about the unfairness of the universe, and wished there was some way of making it fair again. And as he thought, Micah creepit over and joined him, crawling over his arm and resting on his chest. I feel heart sorry for Auntie Carlotta, he said. I canna feel bra to be that sore-faced, can it? I dinna ken, said Micah. Nicholas gawped up at the nicht. Even though he had nothing muckle to be so happy about, he liked to hae sichts like yon to look at. A shooting star scudded through the lift. Did you see that, Micah? It means we hae to mak a wish. So Nicholas wished for a way to replace meanness with goodness. Do you believe in magic, Micah? I believe in cheese. Does that count? Said Micah. There was nae way o' Nicholas kenning for sure if the moose did or didn't believe in magic, but comforted by hope, Nicholas and his wee moosey friend managed to fall slowly and gently asleep as the cold breeze kept blowing and whispering all the unkent secrets o' the nicht. No sure about his auntie. We'll wait to see what happens in the next part. Remember, if you enjoyed listening to it, let me know, because as long as I hear that people are watching it and enjoying it, I'll continue the story. See you next time.